What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're taking a look at Rope, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Rope tells the story of these two friends named Brandon and Philip, who are obsessed with creating the perfect murder in terms of an intellectual exercise, and they do this by killing their former classmate named David. Shortly thereafter, they host a dinner party featuring his friends and family in his name. At said party, their former professor, named Rupert, played by James Stewart, increasingly starts to become suspicious of the two when they start to talk about the art of murder. And this is where Rupert slowly starts to connect the dots and starts to realize that Brandon and Philip had something to do with David's murder. Okay, well, that's the overall story of Rope. Let's briefly go over this review as fast as we can. End of the day, I enjoyed this movie. I thought Rope was a very, very well done psychological thriller. I like how the movie took place in one exact location. Hitchcock did a fantastic job directing this movie. They call Hitchcock the master of suspense for a reason, because he can take a premise like this and he can take a movie that takes place in one singular location and he can milk that for an entire movie. And that's exactly what Hitchcock did in Rope. The entire movie takes place in this apartment building, and you're completely on edge from the moment you see Brandon and Philip commit the murder, all the way to the end when James Stewart pieces everything together and connects Brandon and Philip to the murder of David, of the character David. The movie is beautifully directed, full of suspense, and smartly written. Like, this movie has got some very good dialogue and it's got some very nail-biting scenes to it. Not only that, a lot of the character interactions and character bantering, very, very well done. A lot of the actors in this movie have very, very good on-screen chemistry with one another. My three favorites and my three standouts are Farley Granger, who plays the character of Philip, who was very hesitant to commit this murder, and all throughout this movie and all throughout the film, he has like this neuroticness to him, because he feels that he's going to get caught, and he pretty much regrets killing his friend David. Then you have John Dahl, who plays the character of Brandon, who's calm, who's calculated, who is all in on wanting to do the murder, and he's pretty much obsessed with it. And then you have James Stewart as Rupert, their former professor, the man who has these theories on the art of murder and what the perfect murder can be. But these are just theories to him. He doesn't really take them all to be all that serious. But the Rupert character, he's the one who can see that Brandon and Philip are acting very, very strangely, and he's the one who starts to piece together. And now you have this psychological cat and mouse game going on, where Philip knows that Rupert is suspicious of him and Brandon, but Brandon does not put that together yet. And that's the movie's strong points. Like, these three actors, they hold this movie together for me. I thought they were fantastic. The rest of the supporting cast I thought was strong too, though they didn't really do it for me, and I didn't really find their interactions and banter to be all that interesting. To tell you the truth, the first 5 minutes of this movie is fantastic, and then it has a little bit of a lull period for a good 20 minutes until James Stewart's character is introduced. But once James Stewart comes on the screen, that's where the movie to me picks up, and your eyes are just glued to the screen. James Stewart to me has that kind of screen presence where once he's on the screen, you can't take your eyes off him. And I thought he put on a very good performance in this movie. I liked him as the character, and like I mentioned, I thought Stewart, Granger, and Dahl hold this movie together. The three of them have this awesome cat and mouse chemistry. Fantastic, well done. But that's not the takeaway from the supporting cast. Even though I think that their individual storylines weren't all that interesting or fascinating, and their character interactions weren't all that engaging, the acting was at least good. The acting was at least good from the supporting cast members. You know, you got Sir Cedric Hedwig, who plays the father of the character of David. He's concerned about his son because he hasn't heard from him throughout the entire day. You know, I liked his performance was fine. You had the actress who plays Janet, who is David's fiance. She was okay. You know, she has a little bit of a storyline going on with another character played by Douglas Dick, where they were former lovers, but their storyline is all right, I suppose. Nothing really all that spectacular, but the acting is fine. You have the housemaid, who is also suspicious of Brandon and Philip's behavior, but doesn't really put two and two together. She has a decent little role. And then you have this other character named Mrs. Atwell, I believe her name is, who I thought was the most annoying character out of all. Maybe it's the actress's voice didn't really do it for me. I found her voice to be a little bit grating in a lot of areas. But take all that aside, the acting overall is very, very damn good. The story is intriguing. The direction is fantastic. Alfred Hitchcock's suspense is fantastic. The lingering shots that he has, because Philip and Brandon hid David's corpse in a chest. And the entire movie, you see this chest in plain sight. And that's the beauty of Hitchcock, is that he shows you what happens. And then for the rest of the movie, you're just waiting for someone to make the discovery. And that's pretty much what this movie is. Like, you see David and Philip stuff a dead body into the chest. And the entire time, and now for the entire movie, we know what's in that chest. Hitchcock teases the audience by placing the camera strategically in areas where we can see the chest in plain view. There's this one long take where the maid is cleaning off the chest, and in the back, and to the background, you have Rupert, Brandon, and Philip having a conversation between the three of them, and the entire time the camera's just lingering, and you're just waiting for her to open that chest. But Hitchcock teases you and says, "No, not yet. Gotta wait a little longer." Like, the last 20 minutes of this movie is utterly fantastic, and I loved it. So, yeah, man, I don't really have a whole lot of bad things to say about Rope. This was a damn good psychological thriller. I wish I would have discovered it earlier in my lifetime, because this movie's damn good. This movie runs for 80 minutes, and Hitchcock makes the most of those 80 minutes. I think parts of this movie can be really slow in some areas, but like I said, once James Stewart comes on screen, the movie picks up. And the last 20 minutes makes up for some of the flaws that I do have with it. But overall, Rope to me gets a solid 9 out of 10. I highly enjoyed this movie, and I highly recommend it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Alfred Hitchcock's Rope. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.